In 2018, Kolby Parks became the first ever Canadian to capture the World Street Luge Championship. I visited his hometown of Picton, Ontario, to talk about the rise of the downhill sport and what it takes to be on top. Meet Kolby Parks. He's a big deal in Picton, Ontario, and the current world champion in a sport many have never heard of, street luge.
It's pretty dusty. Yeah, it's pretty slippery out there.
I'm essentially riding a big, souped-up skateboard. Basically, sit on it, feet first. It's the greatest rush you can have.
Parks likes to go fast. He once got his board up to 154 kilometers an hour, a personal best.
You can't really describe it because it's so fast. Like, I've never even gone that fast in a car.
The 34-year-old has been ripping down hills for over 2 decades, and he fell in love with the sport at 12.
I've always loved racing ever since I was really little, and one day some of my friends from school said, "Kolby, there's this new thing called the X Games. It's like the Olympics," which they knew I really loved, but it's for sports that we like BMX and rollerblading and skateboarding. And the first thing I saw on it was street luge, and it was kind of a love at first sight thing. I was like, that's it, I'm doing that, that's mine.
It all started here on the family farm in Prince Edward County. Parks would spend hours making luges out of anything he could find, including scrap metal, sheets of wood, and even a pair of skis.
One I rode down the hill, but this is the second one that I made. These are the original skis that I took off the skateboard and I mounted on there, and that was my very first proper luge.
The sport has grown since it was created in the late 1970s in Southern California. The sport is part of the International Downhill Federation, and competitions are held across the world.
We have riders in almost every country. I've done races in all over Europe: England, France, Germany, Austria, Romania, Czech Republic. I've also gone to South Korea, Australia, Brazil, all over the United States. So it's taken me to places that I would never have seen otherwise.
Back at his home in Picton, Parks' success in the sport is on full display. But he keeps most of his trophies, medals, and giant checks in his office, which also operates as a makeshift garage. And no, there isn't much money to be made in the sport.
I got first and second at the race in Calgary, these two. I got first in the classic luge, which is this wooden one here. It's a different class.
Okay.
And then I got second in the street luge, and I won $800 Canadian for that. And that wouldn't have covered my entry fee and flight out there.
It may look like gravity does all the work, but Parks says a combination of upper body and core workouts and a restricted diet helps. He's also been taking Olympic weightlifting courses to help with his technique at the starting line. Competitors travel on average between 80 and 100 kilometers on downhill courses that have a mix of twists, turns, and straightaways. Lugers wear a helmet, a leather suit, and have tire treads glued to the bottom of their shoes to help them stop and steer. But the thrill is short-lived. Races only last a minute or two. And of course, the sport comes with some obvious risks.
On the course, on all the danger areas, we usually have hay bales lining, so if you're going to the hay bales, lift up your feet, and the hay bales will stop you. Some courses will have netting if there's a cliff or something like that you need to be stopped immediately.
As bad as it looks, Kolby has never broken a bone, but his championship win came with a dangerous reminder of the sport's risks. Right before his final run in Brazil to cement his championship season, tragedy struck.
A motorcycle had come on the course and had hit the previous skateboard heat that was going down. The guy who was leading, I think he was 19 years old, the up-and-coming Brazilian, he was in front and got hit and was killed instantly. The kids knew I had a rough time last year with the circumstances in Brazil, so the kindergarten class I was in last year, they all made this giant heart and they all signed it, and it's one of my favorite things. I hope to maybe put it in a frame.
Street luge is just one of Parks' passions. The other is working with kids at Prince Edward Collegiate Institute, where he works as an educational assistant.
All right. right, this one. Screen.
Sherry
Good
Lee
job.
Bell
Let's
is a
try
teacher
that.
at PECI and has been working with
Thank
Parks
you,
for over
Jeyan.
2 years now.
All right, 2 more.
I would say that the majority of the students that work with him probably don't know. He keeps it very separate. It is a small community, so there's often write-ups on him in the paper, which is how I often find out what's going on with Kolby.
He's been featured on the front page of the Picton Gazette, and his sport even made it into the paper's crossword puzzle. Through it all, Parks stays humble.
Like being from a small town, I think that's what actually has helped the most keep you humble, because you grew up with all these people. So they're congratulating on your success, but then 5 minutes later they're talking about how your family's doing and how the farming is going and how's the planting and all that going. So everyone treats everybody the same way, and I treat everyone else the same way too. So I just go down hills fast on my butt.
This season will be a bit different, however. Parks is the defending champ, and he's ready to put in the work to grow the sport and defend his title.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.